Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Shah from Weight Sense Like Noda. Today, I have a special treat. I have Dr. Lwanga with me today, and she's going to share with you her 3 weight loss tips.
Hello, everyone. As Dr. Shah mentioned, my name is Dr. Lwanga. I'm a general internist and I also did some training in geriatrics. I did the majority of my internal medicine and geriatrics training in Chicago. And for about 3.5 years after that, I worked in upstate New York. Dr. Shah is an amazing doctor. She talks about something that's near and dear to my heart, which is losing weight and obesity. I need to lose weight right now, but there is a story behind that. So growing up as a child, I was definitely like the chubby child, and it definitely impacted me, impacted my self-esteem. But this one of the saving graces for me was getting involved in competitive sports, specifically competitive gymnastics. And with that, just being active, I managed to maintain a reasonable weight. The challenges started when I started medical school and residency. I actually lost weight, but not for healthy reasons, probably because I was stressed out. I was spending most of my time studying and I wasn't really focusing on my body or my health or my nutrition. I'm sure you can relate, Dr. Shah. It's like you wake up in the morning, you have your caffeinated beverage, you go to whatever class you're supposed to go to, chugging along caffeine, stuffing granola bars, and then you're lucky if you're able to eat a frozen meal by the end of the day. So that was my journey throughout
Yeah,
most of
I
my.
that was mine too. I look back at that time of my life and I just realized I can't even identify with that person or even the person I was when I was being raised or brought up. Like food was always on my mind. Food, caffeine, sugar, anything to solve the fatigue and help me power through the day. So I definitely feel you on that one.
Yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, we're supposed to be physicians. We're supposed to be healthy, giving our patients good examples. But to be honest, that what is modeled to us is not very healthy. We're told keep a granola bar in your pocket in case you're not able to eat for a couple of hours. And those are the habits we have. So next came residency. And again, I'm sure you can relate. The stress of residency is even more than it is in med school. So my eating habits got worse. I would probably have like several caffeinated beverages throughout the day, eating chocolate bars. I was like thinking to myself, okay, I've lost so much weight. Now I have permission to eat chocolate bars. And I was thinking, this is only 300-calorie chocolate bar. I'll be fine. But I didn't realize the impact of having that much sugar in my body. We learn these things that are so theoretical that we know, but we don't actually think they're going to impact us or we don't make practical. So in med school, you learn about if you eat foods that are high in sugar, it makes you spike insulin. And if you keep eating a lot of high sugar foods, you're going to be resistant to insulin. So I was doing this to my body unknowingly. And I was fine for a couple of years. I was fine until I actually finished residency and started working. And I still had those bad habits. I realized I needed to change something when I became an attending. I'm like, I have more time over my schedule. I need to start working out. I need to start eating better. I need to start eating like full meals. And I thought I was practicing intuitive eating, but it was not the good kind of intuitive eating. So same thing, I'll just wake up, have my caffeine. And when I remember, oh, I'm hungry, I'm about to faint, I'll eat whatever. And I thought, oh, I'm eating a full meal, but I wasn't thinking about what is in the food. So I'm going to talk to you more about like when you're selecting whole foods in a little while, what to select. But the funny thing is, the more I exercised and the healthier I thought I was eating, the more weight I started gaining. And I got so frustrated. And I went through this vicious cycle of doing all these crazy HIIT workouts, trying to work out like twice per day. And I got frustrated about October of last year. And that's when I got some help.
That is awesome. So, what changed? Like, how did you? We talked a little bit before this call about how you decided to fuel yourself. So, what did you decide to do?
I actually decided to get help. As a doctor, I'm like, I realized I don't know it all. I had to be humble and be like, I need to get help. So I actually got help from a nutrition coach. My coach's name is JT Tap. Yes, he's not a physician, but he was able to take all those principles we learned in medical school and like really explain them to me in a way that was practical and applicable to my life. So I'm going to take a few of the principles he taught me and share them with your audience. But the first thing that was huge for me is that we're eating, or I'm supposed to be eating to fuel my body, not to entertain myself. That was huge because I'm using food to celebrate. I'll be like, oh, I had a good day. I saw XYZ patients. I'm going to get myself like a muffin, and like my latte, my big latte with lots of sugar. And it's the same thing in the morning. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. Okay, I'll go to Starbucks on the way to work and I'll get one, two, three, four, and I'll have an extra treat for myself at lunchtime. So those were not the choices I was making were not good choices. So a practical way to select healthier food choices is to use a saying that somebody, I don't know who to actually credit this to, but somebody else said, select foods that fly, that walk, that swim, or that grow that way. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, Dr.
Yeah,
Shah.
I had.
Yeah, yeah. So an example of that would be, okay, you're gonna have a nice meal with rice. Instead of selecting white rice, select brown rice. If you're gonna have potatoes, leave the skin on there because the skin is where a lot of the nutrients are and there's more fiber and you'll feel fuller if you eat brown rice as opposed to white rice or potatoes with their skin on rather than potatoes without their skin on. So that's one example. Another example is not drinking your calories, which I'm so guilty of. I have such a sweet tooth and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna have these smoothies. So I'll get like smoothies with like berries, bananas, whatever else to put in there. I was not thinking about the impact on my body in terms of spiking my insulin, but I was having several smoothies. I should have been eating fruit instead of having it in smoothie form. So that was huge for me. And even just like my caffeinated beverages, like I've learned to drink plain old coffee with a little bit of milk. Like that has been a big change for me, but I don't need all that sugar. And all of us don't need that sugar, but it becomes very addicting having the caffeine along with the sugar. So slowly, it's difficult when you're used to having this caffeinated sugary beverage to make changes, but you can make incremental changes such as switching to sugar free and then eventually try to get yourself off of the sugar free and change the kind of milk you're using. Rather than say using oat milk, which is higher in carbohydrates, choose almond milk, something like that is lower in carbohydrates, or a type of milk that has more protein, which will keep you feeling.
Awesome. So I'm going to take a couple of things that you've said and I can definitely relate to them. So I was addicted to the largest sugary coffee drink on the planet at all times. Probably started this in high school. And I too have switched to black coffee. And this has made a big change in my life because I still get the caffeine, but without the sugar. And the biggest piece of it is actually help prevent that little slumpy feel after you get all that sugar in through the day. So I think that our hidden calories and the hidden physiological changes that occur when we have these sugar sweetened beverages, sugar sweetened caffeinated beverages, especially or non caffeinated, I think we miss that as an important area that we can look at. I also love that you mentioned not using food for entertainment. I tend to talk to my patients about the three ways we eat: mindless eating, emotional eating, and then intentional eating. And intentional eating is where most diets stick, where we plan out our meals and we focus it on there. But we have to focus on how we use food for enjoyment and entertainment, how much to allow and put some boundaries there. And then that mindless eating, some of the food that we eat is just there because we've never thought about it. So really creating new habits and bringing our mindset and awareness to that is key. And then I think when we do these things like you're sharing, it doesn't feel like a diet, it feels like a lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. I love the fact that you mentioned that it's a lifestyle because whenever we think of this as a diet, we think of it as I'm going to do this from date one, like X to Z, and then I'm going to go back to eating the way I ate before. And of course, if you do that, your body will go back to what it was before. So it's very important to make these changes in a mindful manner, as Dr. Shah was telling us, and really change the way your relationship with food. Like it's about the long term goal, not just about getting to XYZ weight. And if you change your relationship with food, you'll be able to maintain the weight that you've lost. That is huge.
I love that you mentioned it's incremental changes. So sometimes if we go all in on all the hard things, we're not able to sustain it for longer. And I'm much more interested in times of like taking off and bites that you can chew, literally and figuratively, right? Like the amount that you can do. Because if you can have the confidence with step one, then you have the confidence with step two and three.
Absolutely. And talking about steps, the next tip is get moving. So, what do I mean by get moving? It doesn't have to be complicated. And with my story, it was so paradoxical, but the harder the work that I was doing, the more weight I was gaining, primarily because of the type of work that I was doing. I was doing like these HIIT workouts and getting so hungry afterwards and eating, not monitoring what I was eating. So, that can be quite problematic when you're really in the phase of trying to lose weight. So, my coach told me something that I thought was challenging for me to do because I was like, I'm like, I thought I knew what I was doing. I'm like, I have a degree in exercise physiology. I know what I'm doing, but no, this was a very humbling journey, but in a good way. So he told me in the phase that I'm trying to lose weight to focus on walking. And he mentioned a formula. You guys can Google it, but basically you look at your maximum heart rate or you try to figure out what your maximum heart rate is. And then you work or walk within a targeted heart rate that is about 60 to 70% of your heart rate max. So the formula is something like 220 minus your age, and then multiply that by zero point 0.5 to figure out the minimum heart rate up to 0.7 to figure out the maximum heart rate. So for me, the primary method that I used to exercise was walk, which was so shocking. And not only walk, but walk in the fasted state. So I cheat. I don't do a fully state cardio. I take my coffee with me and I'm like, half asleep walking. But that made a big difference because if you do this kind of cardio while you're in a fasted state, you burn more fat because your body is already fasted. So most of the glucose or glycogen stores have been depleted. Then your body says, where do we look for energy? It goes to the fat that's stored in your body. And that makes your workouts more efficient. If this is too complicated for you, that's okay. You don't have to use this formula. The main thing is to get walking, and the current guidelines recommend at least doing some kind of workout, whether it's walking, HIIT, or lifting weights, 4 to 7 days per week for about 30 to 60 minutes. So that's a lot, but you don't have to make it too complicated. You can take it on to other activities. If you have children, you can go walking with them. If you have a pet, you can go walking with them. For me, I do my walk in the morning. I have this like morning routine where I like meditate and pray and like journal, like typing on my phone while I'm like walking, but that's the best way to fit it in. So find a way to fit it into your lifestyle and it doesn't have to take a lot of time.
I love that. And what's your third
My third tip is to get help. So if you've tried everything that you can, you've changed your diet, you started walking, and like me, your weight was going up or things are not moving, get help. The first place you can start is by talking to your primary care physician and asking them if there are potentially medical reasons that can explain why you're gaining weight. There are many medical conditions that can cause weight gain, such as a slow thyroid, a condition called Cushing syndrome, where your cortisol, which is a hormone, levels are off and people tend to have high blood pressure. And it's very difficult to lose weight. Another condition that people wouldn't necessarily think can cause weight gain is something called congestive heart failure, where your body has difficulties managing the water in your body. And as a result, you end up retaining water and you've gained weight. So it could be something like that's not necessarily tied to your diet or what you're eating, but it could be a medical condition. And another one I'd like to add is medications. There's some medications that we as physicians know can cause weight gain. Not everyone has that side effect, but that could be happening in your situation. So if you've already seen your regular doctor, your primary care doctor, they've looked through your medications, ruled out medical causes of weight gain, then they could refer you to somebody like Dr. Shah that specializes in helping people lose weight and in obesity medicine. There is so much we did not learn in medical school and even within our own training that is related to obesity and weight loss. And having the expertise of an expert can make a difference of night and day. So those would be my recommendations.
Thank you so much. And I agree with all of your recommendations and more. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, for everyone. So imagine if you are actually able to lose the weight. So for me, I did not think this was a reality in such a short period of time. I was able to lose about 30 pounds in a 4 month period. And I was like, this was very shocking. So I'm living that reality now. But imagine if 6 months to 1 year from now, you are at your ideal weight. I just want you guys to close your eyes and imagine that. How would your energy levels be? How would you feel about yourself? How would your confidence and your motivation to achieve your goals be? What clothes would you wear? What vacations would you take that you were not brave enough to take? What other risks in your life would you be willing to take that you thought you could never take? That can be your reality. So just take the next step. Reach out to your regular doctor. For those of you who are in the Saskatchewan Health Region, if you happen to be watching, I'm a general internist, so you have to get a referral to see me. But if you are within the Saskatchewan Health Region, you can ask your doctor to refer you to see me to rule out medical causes of weight gain. And if you're in the Orlando area, ask your doctor to refer you to Dr. Shah. I don't know if you do televisits as well.
I can. And actually, I don't need a referral to see me. So if you want to see me, just call my clinic.
Yeah, imagine she can help you. We can help you achieve those results. So that is it for now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.